Now, The Hunt Palmer Show.
This is a catastrophe.
You are now listening to The Hunt Palmer Show. Brought to you by Renaissance Homes and Pools on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
That's what I wished for when I blew out my candle.
Locking down the middle of the day. Live from the Raising Cane studio. This is Hunt Palmer.
The floor is yours.
Wednesday edition of the Hunt Palmer Show, hour number 2, brought to you by Renaissance Homes and Pools. Means half that work week officially in the rear view mirror, working towards the weekend. Appreciate you hanging out with us here on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge. Got plenty to do in hour number 2. We'll talk about the newest member of the LSU basketball program, a commitment from Europe/Brazil over the morning hours. We'll talk about that in 15 minutes. My SEC baseball power rankings coming your way in 30 minutes. Right now, let's talk some LSU baseball with Koki Riley. Covers the team for The Advocate. Joins us on Wednesdays. Koki, how are you?
Doing pretty well. How's it going?
Going well. You called this a death machine last night on offense. What gives you that impression over the last 2 weeks?
Well, they can't stop scoring, 6, 7, 8 plus runs a game. And part of it's competition, right? I think South Carolina actually has has an okay pitching staff. It's good enough to, win at least some games in the SEC. I think Mississippi State has a good starting staff and a decent bullpen. But I guess, midweek games and whatnot, like they haven't faced necessarily Florida, which that's going to be a whole other challenge in a couple of weeks. But what they're doing has been pretty impressive at the plate. And I'm kind of walking back my competition statement because now I think of it, they actually have played pretty decent competition on the mound, at least. So I think that, these freshmen have really, really embraced the Jay Johnson style of offense. They're getting on base the whole time. They have the right mix of guys at the right spots in the order. It's a nice blend of veterans who have been there and won a College World Series and, freshmen who are pretty darn talented. And they really need Omar Cerna this weekend to continue that trend, against a really good Georgia team, which is probably better on both sides of the ball. But you feel better about LSU being a potential shootout this weekend if its offense is playing the way it has been.
I know y'all met with Jay Johnson earlier today. I also know how he handles injuries. So what can you tell us about Omar Cerna and what that update was today?
I really didn't get a ton.
Yep.
That's different than what we got last night, right? It's a back thing. Apparently it's a doctor's appointment today. Backs are kind of tricky and unpredictable. You don't really know what it's hard to diagnose, and it's hard to figure out what's not just exactly wrong, but pain tolerance and just the consistency of what the issue is. For example, Jake Brown's hamate injury is pretty straightforward. It's an injury that a lot of hitters have had, and usually it takes 4 to 6 weeks to recover, and it's a pretty straightforward procedure and whatnot. But when it comes to a back, backs are tricky, and it's going to be interesting to see, how I guess when he was healthy enough to play, he looked fine while playing hurt. And everyone is playing hurt to some degree, but maybe it's just that, and they just wanted to give him a break because it flared up a little bit more on Tuesday, or maybe this is something more. It's kind of impossible to tell, honestly. So yeah, it's kind of where we're at with Omar at the moment.
Certainly a huge part of LSU's offense. Need him back this weekend if at all possible. I also saw John Eads was tweeting about Stephen Milam switching to number 2 next year. I don't know what that discussion was like. I obviously wasn't there. Certainly LSU fans would be interested in Stephen Milam's wearing any number in purple and gold next year, whether that was 2 or 4. What do you feel about Stephen Milam's future at this point?
Yeah, I don't think that tweet really and John does great work, so I'm definitely not trashing him at all. But I don't know if that tweet necessarily totally encapsulated what the conversation was, because I asked him, "Is there any chance that he comes back next season?" And Jay was like, "Yeah, we'll give him the number 2 if he wants number 2 to come back. We can give him the number 2, but I don't think he's coming back." Basically,
okay.
Right? And there are very few shortstops like him, and he thinks that Major League Baseball will value that sort of skill set, right? And there is an unpredictable element to it, right? And he's a very unique player type for what Major League Baseball would want in a shortstop, right? He's like much, much smaller than the average shortstop. I think a lot of people would point to the fact that, that lack of size kind of cuts off his range a little bit. He's not like the fastest or the quickest player out there, even though he has, as good a hands as could ever ask for in an infield prospect. He's hitting the ball better lately, which is a good sign for his prospects moving forward in Major League Baseball. I think if he had continued to struggle a little bit at the plate, there'd be a better chance of him coming back. But if he's hitting the ball like this, you can definitely talk yourself into him being, well, he's kind of a slow starter at the plate. Obviously, we know he can definitely play an elite second base at the next level and fill in at shortstop if he needs to. And again, this is just from pure scouting perspective and from some of the scouts that I talked to. That's kind of the idea on him. But, he's kind of interesting because you talk to 5 scouts, 3 of them will like him, 2 of them won't. There's not a lot of consensus over what he is. And some people like him, some people don't. It's really kind of an eye of the beholder player. Everyone loves his mentality. It's just what's his fit at the next level given his player type? It's definitely an interesting conversation for sure.
Let's rein it back into this LSU team and a couple of freshmen, William Patrick and Jack Ruckert, guys that I don't think anyone figured would factor in a big way on this team and now are starting every day. And that their statistics have gotten better over the last 2 weeks. What have you seen from them at the plate?
Yeah, I think Ruckert is the game's really slowed down for Ruckert, and I know that's kind of a cliche saying, but it just feels like he's taking quality at bats. He's generating much harder contact. I don't think he's ever going to be like a 10, 15 homer guy for this team, but he's kind of like the classic Skip Bertman player, right? Who becomes like a really solid contributor and a really good player towards the end of his collegiate career. Might not, have a home in Major League Baseball necessarily, but it's kind of the Gavin Dugas thing, or for lack of a better term, or the Josh Pearson thing. But I think that he doesn't have quite as much power as those guys do. But I like his contact skills at the plate quite a bit, and still has to work on his consistency on defense. But when you look at the way he moves out there, you look at his actions and look at his hands, I think he's definitely going to be a pretty good defender because, the truth of the matter is, almost all freshmen are not good defensively on the infield their freshman year.
Yeah.
Ever since I covered Arizona State baseball, and they had Alika Williams and Gage Workman on that infield, and those 2 guys made the major leagues and were awful defenders their freshman year. And they ended up being great defenders in college, but it's just such a leap with the way guys are hitting the ball and all that sort of stuff that it's going to take a year to really adjust to it. So you can see the improvement there already, and he's just a solid player. And I think they've got potential guy they can turn to at second base next year with the way he's been playing. And as for Patrick, the tools are really, really impressive. Obviously, he's a great runner, but there was a play last night where he's retrieving the ball into the right field corner, and he just throws the ball into the infield to Milam, and they nearly throw the guy out of the plate, but Milam was a little bit slow on the turn. But his throw from the right field corner to the edge of the infield was impressive. You don't really see that at the college level, that kind of cannon. And he's the sort of athlete you just don't really see at the collegiate level. It's kind of that simple. And he's very, very raw still. He hits the ball on the ground quite a bit. He's pulling the ball a lot. If he can get the ball, he can get underneath the ball a little bit and start driving it into the air. That's where you're going to start seeing that natural power and where he can really utilize that athleticism. But for now, he's just got to get used to playing baseball every day and being a baseball player. Because this guy wasn't a baseball player in high school. He played baseball, but he also played football. He played 3 different positions of football, and he was a state track winner. And he was all these other things. I think he even played basketball. He was all these other things. He wasn't just a baseball player. And now he's just a baseball player, and he's got to get used to get those actions down, get those skills improved. It's just going to come with experience, right? And it's probably going to take longer than these next couple of weeks to really figure out what you have here. It's going to take the fall. It's going to take the preseason next season and probably even the beginning of next year to really see what you have in him. And you're just hoping for improvement. And he hasn't looked as overwhelmed as you think, because at the high school level he played at, St. Frederick, that's a 1A private school in Louisiana. Like, that's a tiny, tiny school. He probably wasn't facing almost anyone who's over 90 miles an hour. Now he's seeing guys who are throwing 93, 94, 95 consistently. That's a massive leap. And he's struck out. He's struck out a good bit. He's struggled at times, but he hasn't looked quite as overwhelmed as you think, given just the sheer leap in competition. So I'd say there's good signs with him. It's just really early to tell. And I think with Ruckert overall, it seems like he's adjusting to the level pretty nicely so far.
St. Frederick High School, chief rival of my high school, Loyola College Prep up there in Shreveport, another tiny, tiny school that never puts really good players into college baseball. But William Patrick bucking that trend there as a Freddie. Last thing, Koki, appreciate your time. How do you think they do in Athens this weekend?
This is going to be an uphill battle for them.
Yeah.
It's a really bad matchup because, I mean, Georgia has, the second or third best offense in the country, I'd say. They're going to be playing in a tiny park. If LSU isn't scoring 10, 12 runs, they're probably going to have trouble winning these games, in part because, LSU shorthanded on the pitching side. Their bullpen in particular has really struggled against SEC competition, especially against good offenses. You sort of combine that with, obviously the starting pitching stuff. And yes, LSU has the offense to stick around in these games, at the very least, and maybe steal one of them. But I think LSU is going to have not an easy matchup with Georgia's starting staff. Like, Joey Volchko is a really good pitcher, so it's going to be tough. Like, this is this is about as tough of a matchup as you can ask for heading into this week. And when you combine the small park with LSU's pitching stuff and Georgia's power, it's just a bad combination. It's even worse than the Mississippi State combination a couple of weeks ago. Even if you want to say this team's playing better now than it did then, which I'd probably agree with you, I'd say this team is better than the Mississippi State team that they just faced and got swept by. So it's really, really tough. I mean, if they win this series, then we're really talking about the tournament. But I just don't really see how that's just not. I don't think that's very realistic, in my opinion.
I don't disagree totally, but we'll see. Enjoy Athens, and we'll talk next week.
Yep, awesome. Thank you.
Koki Riley with The Advocate. He said a couple of things there that piqued my interest. He was talking about a couple of guys that he covered at Arizona State that ended up making the big leagues that were not good defenders as freshmen. No one really remembers this in this town. There's one play that you all remember, but no, Alex Bregman was not a great shortstop his freshman year. I mean, he played catcher at high school. He'd broken his finger. Maneri just moved him to shortstop, said, you're going to be the shortstop. He was not good defensively that year. And it hurt the worst when he booted that ground ball against UCLA that ended up plating a run, but he was not good. And he became great. He was a great defender his junior year, and he's won 2 Gold Gloves at the big league level. So, he got there, but to Koki's point, it takes some time. And the other thing he was talking about, William Patrick becoming a baseball player because he's done everything else. That's very similar to a guy on Bregman's freshman team, Andrew Stevenson, who at STM played wide receiver on the football team. Was just a natural athlete that was learning baseball. When he got here, he could not hit at all. I mean, he hit $150 on that 2013 team, but they put him out there to go run balls down in center field. And he did it in Hoover like a deer, and he did it in wherever they put him. He was just great on defense, and they just stuck him down there in the 8 and 9 hole and said, all right, go catch everything in center, and we'll let the other 8 guys hit. And those 2 guys were on the same team, and Ruckert and Patrick are on the same thing. And Ruckert is not comparable to Alex Bregman. Very, very few players are comparable to Alex Bregman. But that story, it still rings a little bit true. So appreciate Koki for a little bit of perspective there. He'll be covering the team from over in Athens for The Advocate. He's here every single Wednesday. All right, we'll take a timeout. LSU got a new basketball player. I'll tell you about him next.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
Marucci, the official bat of Major League Baseball. Step into the heart of the game at Marucci. Go take a tour of Marucci, where they make 1,200 bats every single day to be sent off to the best players in the world. Turn on a big league game tonight. You'll see Marucci. And they make them right here. 1,200 a day. Go take a tour. Learn how they make them. Learn the story of how 2 former big leaguers and their trainer got in the backyard, made a bat, and 22 years later have reached these levels in Baton Rouge. Such a cool story. If you're looking for a year-end party for your youth baseball team or your youth softball team. I know Myersman has his tonight. Go take a tour of Marucci. Show them. This is an amazing, amazing spot here in Baton Rouge. They've also got the Hitter's House where you can become a member, 24/7 access to batting cages, pitchers' mounds. It's all there at Marucci. Check them out online at MarucciSports.com. It's all there at Marucci.
You're listening to The Hunt Palmer Show, brought to you by Renaissance Homes and Pools.
Before we get into Will Wade's latest commitment, let's talk about my friends at Boudreaux's Electrical Services. Boudreaux's Electrical Services, your spot for that Generac home standby generator. Be prepared for the next power outage with the Generac home standby generator from my friends at Boudreaux's Electrical Services. You can give them a call, 985-397-1562. That's the same number that they've had at Boudreaux's Electrical, Neil Melissa, for 40 years. Call them, 985-397-1562. Say, hey, I'd love to talk about a generator. They send one of their teammates out, sent Justin over to my house, kind of scout things out, understand what you want that generator to power, whether it's a business or a home, and they'll give you a quote on what you need. When you decide what you're going to go with, a team of fully staffed, full-time employees at Boudreaux's Electrical come to install it. And then to do maintenance and do some review of what you're getting, Boudreaux's is there every step of the way. You can buy a Generac home standby generator from the big box store, but what kind of customer service do you get? Do they monitor it 24/7? Are they the ones that come out and do the maintenance? At Boudreaux's Electrical, you just do business with the family that's been in business here for 4 decades in South Louisiana. Storm season's coming. Don't wait until that storm's in the Gulf to call Boudreaux's Electrical. Do it now. 985-397-1562 or 225-300-9389. It's Boudreaux's Electrical. Well, Will Wade said on multiple podcasts over the last couple days, and they got 7 or 8 guys. And we talked about it yesterday. I said, well, I think that's great if you got 7 or 8. I just don't know any of them. I know one. I know Mo Diabate. You got one. That's what I know. And he grinned and he said, that's what y'all know. But look, we're not releasing things. Players are in the playoffs. There are other things. We're not releasing that kind of stuff. But we did get a commitment today. And it's right from the area where we thought it would come from. Will Wade made it clear. They're going to skew heavy to the international side on this particular 2026-2027 basketball team. Why? Well, one, these guys are old. These guys are old. They're developed. They're mature, and they're used to switching teams year over year. In Europe, very common to sign 1-year contracts. Get used to a new team all the time. And 2, these guys are not going to be eligible moving forward. The NCAA is going to go to a 5-for-5 deal where you have 5 years after high school to complete your 5 years of playing, and then you're done. And so the Euro pros will not be eligible for that. But they are now. So it's a good place to go shopping. And Will Wade did that with Marcio Santos. Marcio Santos. Marcio Santos is Brazilian-born. He has been playing in Europe over the course of the last couple of years. He is 23 years old. So he's really old by college standards, not by general standards, but by college standards, he's really old. He played in EuroLeague, which is the second best league in the world. He played for Maccabi Tel Aviv, which is obviously in Israel. And he averaged about 14 minutes per game for them as a 22-year-old, scored 7 points, and is thought of as an offensive player. I watched an 8-minute highlight tape of Marcio Santos, and I heard Jeff Goodman from Field of 68 give his description of Santos from someone who evaluates talent overseas that he said he trusts really well. And so I kind of blended Goodman's thoughts from the scout and what I saw in an 8-minute highlight tape, and that's what I can give you. That's kind of what we're going to be working off of for this LSU basketball team until they get on the floor. But Santos is 6'8", 6'9". He is a full-grown man. You watch highlight tapes of the high school kids on the AAU circuit that you used to have bringing into your program. They are skin and bones, just rail thin. And that's just life. 17 and 18-year-olds are thin, especially ones that play basketball all the time. 22, 23, 24-year-olds are not. They're men. Marcio Santos is a man. He is big and strong and physical. And he's 6'8", 6'9". Now, what I see on the tape, I see a guy very comfortable stepping out and shooting the three. He shot 40% from three in professional basketball league in EuroLeague. It's an efficient, quick release on a pick and pop. He knows where to be on the floor. He knows spacing. That's the European game. And when he gets some space on the perimeter, he can knock down shots. He's also physical around the rim. He is not going to out-jump most people. He does play above the rim at times. That's just by byproduct of being 6'9" and 23 years old. He plays above the rim some, but he's not a freakish athlete. He will finish around the rim. He will get to spots on the floor to finish. He's a good cutter. He knows where the basketball is. He's just got a very European game to him. You don't see a lot of him breaking guys down off the bounce. And at 6'8", that doesn't happen very much. That's not what he does. He allows others to facilitate for him. And this is kind of similar to other players we've seen. Diabate is a guy that's in the boat. Niang is a guy that we think is going to get in the boat. And like Niang and Santos come from the European game. They played the same game. They need a point guard and a two guard to facilitate for them. But the skills to get the ball in the bucket are certainly there. Now, the word, this is from Santos, this is from Jeff Goodman's scouting report. I'm not going to get a defensive scouting report on a guy based on his 8-minute highlight tape out of Europe where they're just going to show him making threes and finishing dunks and getting putbacks around the rim. The word is he's bad on defense. I have no idea. That's what the scout told Goodman. I would certainly trust that scout over what I'm looking at on YouTube. But I do know this, which makes me feel pretty good. Mark Pope from Kentucky flew to Israel to see Marcio Santos, and he ended up at LSU. Now, whether Kentucky thought he wasn't a take, whether LSU offered significantly more money, whether Will Wade's just a way better recruiter than Mark Pope, like maybe all that's true, maybe one of those things is true, whatever. But what you've got here in Santos is a big, physical post player with pick and pop ability, three-point shooting ability, toughness, floor spacing awareness that is going to be here for 1 year. That's what you get in Santos. And it looks like a good player to me. Not a guy that's going to have to adjust to any sort of physicality in the SEC. Not a guy who's really got to work on his jump shot. Like Diabate has got to work on his jump shot. He's not a good shooter. Santos is. I can't tell you without looking at the other parts of the roster whether or not Santos is going to start or whether he's going to be a bench player. But I can tell you that he's got some skills. I can tell you that Kentucky was interested, and I can tell you that he's going to be the second player in the boat for LSU here after Mo Diabate. And I think it's pretty good. A lot of people are balking at the 14 minutes per game, the 7 points per game in EuroLeague. Look, y'all, this is a really good league that skews older. They play older players more often than younger players because guess what happens when they play younger players? Scouts see them. They leave. So I don't think that this is a deal where he was overmatched in EuroLeague and that's why he only played 14 minutes. 14 minutes is some solid playing time, and scoring 7 points per game in 14 minutes, you extrapolate that out to 25 minutes on the floor, and you're talking about a guy that's a 13, 14-point scorer in the second-best basketball league in the world. So he can play. This is a good ad for Will Wade. It's an offensive ad. It's a good ad. It's a physical ad. It's a rebounding ad. I like it. Marcio Santos, you can read more about him at LouisianaSports.net. I'll have a portal profile, even though he doesn't really come from the portal. Profile up on tomorrow on the website. So looking forward to that. When we come back, is Lane Kiffin going to win a national championship at LSU? I don't know. They asked Brian Kelly. He probably knows better than me. He gave his answer. We'll do that in our SEC Baseball Power Rankings next.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
One Bath and Closets. OneBathAndClosets.com is the website. David Duvall and his team, 30 years redesigning and remodeling bathrooms and closets. And sometimes it's just time for a full-scale renovation of the bathroom, whether it's just old and dated or maybe it's just not functioning. I love Brian Haldane talking about the work that David Duvall and his team did in the Haldane house. And Brian does our morning show on Talk 107.3, Mornings with Brian Haldane. Also does some production work with us at the LSU Sports Radio Network. But he was looking for some help in the bathroom. And look, he called David Duvall One Bath and Closets. They came in, customized it to what the Haldanes were looking for. They had one vanity, wanted two, got two done. How do you want that to look? They went through those options, made it happen. Floors, vanity, mirrors, the works in the bathroom. David Vaughn and his team did it soup to nuts for the Haldanes. They can absolutely do it to you, customized and brand new. So if you go to brush the teeth this evening, you look at the bathroom setup, you're like, man, this is just not what I want. David Vault, One Bath and Closets. Check them out online, onebathandclosets.com. They'll do it right the first time and leave the competition behind. Online at onebathandclosets.com. It's One Bath and Closet.
You're listening to The Hunt Palmer Show, brought to you by Renaissance Homes and Pools.
Wednesday show is brought to you by Renaissance Homes and Pools. We're going to get to our SEC baseball power rankings coming up here in this segment. We're going to start with a little bit of football. Brian Kelly has kind of been making the media rounds. We know that he's going to do some work with the folks over at CBS this year, and that's all good for LSU because it's a little bit money back in the kitty. Whatever he makes in media, he can forego buyout money from LSU. So that's good news here in Baton Rouge, but it would be really good news if his successor won a national championship. And the folks over at USA Today had Brian Kelly on the podcast and asked very bluntly, like, do you think he's going to win a national championship there? And so this was Brian Kelly's answer on Lane Kiffin at LSU. Hold up. We'll get there. The old technology got us there. But it's an interesting answer and one that I don't think Brian Kelly arrived at flippantly. I think it's one that he absolutely gave some thought to. I think it's something that he's given thought to, and he knows the inner workings of the machine that is LSU recruiting, the machine that is LSU NIL, the machine that is LSU in terms of revenue sharing. Like, these are things that he knows better than really almost anyone. There are certainly some people in LSU's administration that know better than him because they're now in a new Wade Roos era, a new Verge Osbury era, a new Lee Mallett era. There are some changes that have happened since Brian Kelly left, but ultimately you've still got the same donors. You've still got a lot of the same structure, NILSU. You've still got Nike that's involved with a little bit of a third-party situation there. Like, there are some things that are still there that were certainly there as Brian Kelly was trying to raise funds, and I think what you'll hear in the answer is just how important fundraising is. Kelly knows that, and he feels like LSU is going to do right by Brian Kelly from that, by Lane Kiffin from that perspective. So it's just something that I think is interesting to hear from that voice. Like, you can hear it from Kirk Herbstreit, you could hear it from Joel Klatt, you could hear it from Booger McFarland, you could hear it from whoever you want to talk about in the media that's a national talking head here, a national talking head there, someone that played here, someone that played there, someone that's been a coach here, a coach there, but somebody that's been in the chair in LSU. Brian Kelly is the only coach who has been in the chair at LSU in this era. Like, so no one can have the perspective quite like he can. Like, Ed Ogeron can speak to LSU to an extent, but he can't do it like Brian Kelly can. So I thought that Brian Kelly's answer just held a little bit more weight, and this is what he had to say.
For a yes or no here, Brian.
Yeah.
Will Lane Kiffin win a national championship at LSU?
I think so. That wasn't yes. Here's why I would say yes, okay? I think that they have invested in NIL for him. They have given him the opportunity. There's a lot of good things moving in that direction. The recruiting classes are really in solid shape. And I think Lane's a really smart football coach. So I think it's in a really good place. And I believe because there's an investment in that NIL, he's going to be able to be Lane Kiffin. and that's important. You know, he's not going to take the 18-year-old kid and develop him, all the way through the ranks. And that's fine. And because that's what they wanted, I think with those things in place, he can win the national championship. And I'm sorry, that was a long answer.
So I think there are some people that hear that and think there's a little bit of animosity there from Kelly. Maybe that's too strong a word. like, oh, he's not going to do what I tried to do, which is go develop the high school kids. And I think the high school kids are the better way to go. Or he's got an NIL investment that I didn't have. Like, I didn't sense that. I think he sensed that LSU is raising money. I think he sensed that Lane Kiffin has a plan in the transfer portal, that Lane Kiffin is a very good coach. And it's still a fact that the 3 guys in the chair before Brian Kelly did win. Now, I think LSU fans' perspective on championships is a little bit warped, and I'm okay with that. I just kind of call it like I see it. I mean, I'm leaving Omaha last year, and was Jay going to win 6, 7, 10 of these things? It's really hard to win one. It's really hard. The amount of things that have got to go your way to win one is significant. And I still feel that way about football too. If you don't have Saban in that era where you can stockpile players, like, it's really hard to win one. I would bet heavily against Indiana this year. Heavily against them. Ohio State, they've had great teams. You got one a couple years ago, but it doesn't happen overnight. Kirby Smart kind of been locked out for a second now. It's not just a guarantee. And so if you asked me to guess if I thought Lane Kiffin was going to win a national championship at LSU, I would guess no. I don't think I'd be like running to get money down on that answer, but I would guess no because I think it's so hard. Like, I would probably guess no. I don't think Jay Johnson wins a national championship in the next 3 years. And I think there are LSU fans that think that's nuts for me to say that. I just think it's really hard. Ask Dave Van Horn. Have you seen his teams? They never win. It's really hard to do. So I hope so. I hope Jay wins it this year. But, doesn't feel like that's going to happen. I hope Lane wins it this year. I hope Will Wade wins it this year. Hasn't happened. It's tough. So I don't say that to be like overly negative or to like put people in a bad mood here on this lovely Wednesday afternoon. But like, it's just really hard to win a championship. We're just very fortunate at LSU that we've had some teams that got to the finish line. I'm thrilled about that. But it's really, really, really difficult. So let me remind you about Renaissance Homes and Pools. We get to our LSU SEC Baseball Power Rankings. They're online at builtbyrenaissance.com, builtbyrenaissance.com. I just ask you to send a text to Joey Blanchard. He's the owner of the company. The beauty of working with Renaissance Homes and Pools is you get the owner all the way through. You text Joey to start things, 225-252-7745. That's 225-252-7745. Say, hey, I'd like to get a pool. Joe will get that text. He'll give you a call. He's with you every step of the way. That initial consultation, what do you want? Do you know, or do you want us to help you start this process? Okay, you go through the design. Joey's there. When they dig, Joey's there. When they fill that pool, Joey's there. When they finish that pool, Joey's there. Outdoor kitchens, Joey's got your back on that as well. If you want to build your forever home, Renaissance Homes and Pools can do that too. And it's not too late to make that phone call to swim in 2026. It's May, early May. We can swim through October in this town. So if you want to make that phone call, you think the time is now, give Joey a text, 225-252-7745. Renaissance Homes and Pools are online at builtbyrenaissance.com. Power Rankings.
Hunt's SEC Power Rankings. The Georgia Bulldogs.
It's a good team LSU's playing on Friday. They lead the SEC in wins in league play by 2.5. They lead the SEC in batting average. They lead the SEC in home runs, slugging percentage, on base percentage, OPS. They are really good on offense. They also have a pitching staff that has held its own. They're second in the league in fielding percentage. I think they're the best team in the Southeastern Conference. LSU's got to go to work this weekend.
The Texas Longhorns.
Still really like Texas. They're number 2 in the SEC in ERA. They're also third in the SEC offensively in on-base percentage. I think the X factor for Texas is Dylan Volantis. He's just so good, and he makes it hard on everybody they play in that game. And when you got that guy, despite the fact that Volantis doesn't always pitch on Friday, doesn't always pitch on Saturday, started the year on Sunday, he's pitched on some Fridays. Like, it doesn't matter what day when you're in SEC play, they all count the same. He's been fantastic. I think he's an X factor for this team.
The Auburn Tigers.
I moved Auburn up one spot. They took 2 out of 3 at Texas A&M. I've got them in the third spot. They got the best ERA in the league, fewest walks allowed in the league. Their offense is 4th in batting average. Like this Auburn team, they move up one spot.
Texas A&M!
A&M moves back a spot because they lost 2 out of 3 at home to Auburn, and I just like Auburn's punch right now late in this season. A&M is 10th in the SEC in ERA. They are 16th in the SEC. That is dead last in pitching strikeouts, so they've just got some soft spots on the mound. I'm so disappointed LSU didn't cash in on that. But I'll let you in on a secret here. That was the movement. Auburn to 3, A&M to 4. Nobody else moved.
The Ole Miss Rebels.
People went nuts in the comments on Instagram that I got Ole Miss ahead of Mississippi State because Mississippi State's beaten Ole Miss 4 times. I like Ole Miss's pitching staff better than Mississippi State's. I love Townsend. I think he's awesome. And I think Rabe is good. And, like, Hunter Elliott's going to give me a good start in the postseason. I just know he is, even though he hasn't the last couple of times out. I like Ole Miss. They've got great, powerful offense. They were one swing away from winning 2 out of 3 at Arkansas. I like this team.
The Mississippi State Bulldogs.
State went on the road and lost 2 out of 3 to Texas. They're third in the SEC in ERA. They're second in batting average. They're tied for 5th in homers. They're first in doubles. It's a good team. Townsend is the X factor. I like him more than Valinkas at Mississippi State. So I like Ole Miss more than Mississippi State.
The Florida Gators.
Very top-heavy offense. They're really good at the top of the offense, but here's the underbelly of Florida. They're 12th in the SEC in batting average, 11th in doubles, 10th in homers, 12th in slugging, 12th in on base. However, their team ERA is 4th. It's a really talented pitching staff. The offense does well 1 through 4, 5 through 9 struggles, but Florida, I've got it 7.
The Arkansas Razorbacks.
Hogs at 8, 7th in the SEC in ERA, 11th in batting average, 8th in runs scored. They just got a lot of different statistical categories that are right there in the middle, and that's why Arkansas is right there in the middle of the SEC at 8.
The Tennessee Volunteers.
I like the stuff in the top of the staff, and they're third best in walks allowed. They just need to hit a little bit more. Their pitching staff's going to help them out. It's the offense that has hurt Tennessee, which is wild to say, but it is Toast Vitello. Here we are.
The Alabama Crimson Tide.
Biggest problem with Bama, who remains at 10 here, Justin LeBron, who was thought 2 years ago maybe the top pick in this draft, won't be anymore. 266 this year. Now, 12 homers is good, but that's just not a great year. Brady Neal's been their best hitter.
The Vanderbilt Commodores.
Doors can hit for power, second in the SEC in homers. They don't pitch, 15th in the SEC in ERA. They do have a really easy schedule coming up. They're going to go to Columbia, Missouri to play Missouri this weekend, then they'll play South Carolina at home the final weekend. They're going to have to win 5 of those 6, I think, to feel good about the SEC getting into the NCAA tournament.
The Oklahoma Sooners.
The only thing Oklahoma is good at is stealing bases. They're 12th.
The Kentucky Wildcats.
The only thing Kentucky is good at is stealing bases. They're 13th.
The LSU Tigers.
I like the weekend. They're playing better. They are playing better. But they got one weekend starter. And Cowan and Paz did a good job, but are they proven, or was that South Carolina's awful offense? I don't know. And the offense is really young. I'm hopeful. I'm hopeful I can change LSU out of the 13th spot. They go to Athens and win a couple. I can bump them up to 11 or something. But right now, I got to leave them at 14.
The South Carolina Gamecocks.
Y'all saw them. I mean, y'all saw them. They just simply cannot hit. They're not talented. They're bad.
The Missouri Tigers.
They got swept by South Carolina. They're worse. I think Carrick Jackson's got about 2.5 weeks left in that dugout, and that'll be a changing being made by Missouri. So that's your SEC baseball power rankings. Only one real movement the entire week. That means I've got it grooved. Georgia 1, Texas 2, Auburn moves up to 3, A&M moves back to 4. That was it. Ole Miss 5, State 6, Florida 7, Arkansas 8, Tennessee 9, Bama 10, Vandy 11, OU 12, Kentucky 13, LSU 14, South Carolina 15, and Missouri comes in at 16. We'll come back and close out the show next.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
Fabry Chevrolet GMC. Every car is on the lot, and every car is online at FabryChevrolet.com. I know a lot of folks are about to pack up that gear and head to the beach when school is over. If you've got a car that may not be able to handle that at this point, you're at the end of your lease, you want a new SUV for that road trip for the summer, go in there to Fabry Chevrolet GMC and look at their Suburbans. Look at their Yukons. Look at their Denali's. Look at the Tahoes. They've got an amazing inventory of SUVs just ready for that summer road trip. Start that buying process online at FabryChevrolet.com. It's a great way to do it. We live in a clicks world. Go check out the inventory. But I highly suggest you make that short drive to St. Francisville and see them. It's a great buying experience at Fabry Chevrolet GMC. It's great service after the sale, and you will not regret it. It's Fabry Chevrolet GMC. They're online at FabryChevrolet.com. Highway 61 in St. Francisville. It's Fabry Chevrolet GMC.
You're listening to The Hunt Palmer Show, brought to you by Renaissance Homes and Pools.
One more time, I'll get you Joey Blanchard's number. Get you in a new pool, 225-252-7745. You can find them online at builtbyrenaissance.com. Renaissance Homes and Pools brings you our Wednesday shows each and every week. Take it or leave it.
Take it or leave it.
Take it or leave it.
Today's hottest stories in sports, news, and sometimes even Hunt's life. The question is, will he take them or leave them?
All right, so if Live Golf can't survive beyond this season without Saudi Arabia's funding, two-time major champion Bryson DeChambeau said that he's prepared to grow his YouTube golf channel and he'll play in tournaments that want him. So is Bryson done with the PGA Tour? Take it or leave it.
Leave it. Once Liv dissolves and his contract's up, he'll find his way back on. I don't believe Bryson's going to spend his truly prime years trying to break 50 with Fisher-Price clubs at the local meetings. Like, I don't think he's going to spend his prime golf years trying to make hole-in-ones over his house.
3D printer.
It's a great idea, super awesome stuff, but he's going to want to play in the Players' Championship and at Pebble Beach and at the Arnold Palmer and Memorial, and he'll want to do that, and he'll have the opportunity to do that when Liv folds. Like, he knows that. And look, and Graham McDowell came out yesterday and said, hey, I wish I wouldn't have said the stuff about growing the game at the beginning. I wish I would have said it was good for me to grow my pocketbook, and it was an off-ramp of golf for me. Yeah. That would have been fine. But they all just lied and ripped golf in half. So I don't like it. And so Bryson's not going to just quit and go play on YouTube. Just not going to happen. I'm on YouTube every day. I'm telling you. It's not that. That's not that. If I could play at Pebble Beach, I'd be there.
All right, so Philadelphia 76ers star Joel Embiid will miss Game 2 of the Eastern Conference semifinals tonight against the New York Knicks with a right hip soreness and right ankle sprain. Embiid has played 5 games in the playoffs since returning from his emergency appendectomy on April 9th. The Sixers cannot be taken seriously if Embiid is in and out like this. Take it or leave it.
Take it. Like, he's clearly the best player. The thing is, like, when is he not in and out?
Exactly.
He never plays. He's always hurt. Well, he's got an appendectomy. Well, his foot's hurt. And he's always hurt. So, like, I get it. Like, 7'1" guys or whatever he is, it's a very difficult way to stay healthy, and there are not a lot of guys that big that can move like that. But
he has strange injuries though. Like, he's had his injuries with his legs and whatnot. You know, I remember one playoff run he had Bell's palsy. He just has the wildest injuries possible. Like, and one year he broke his face.
I remember Bell's palsy. I don't even know what that is.
He had, like, his eye was like frozen, like he couldn't blink his eye or something one playoff series. Like, I don't know.
That seems like if you're like playing NBA 2K and then,
like my player gets Bell's palsy. Like,
but like that's the Sixers like built their entire organization around him, and
trust the
when
process.
he's out there, he's real good, but he's not out there a lot.
Well, it's good. Sixer fans are happy. As long as they sent the Celtics home, they can care less right now. They're a happy group. So Derby winner Golden Temple will miss the Preakness. That's the second straight year the Derby winner will miss the race. It needs to move. Take it or leave it.
Gotta take it, right?
I mean, you have to.
Aren't we trying to? I mean, there is certainly a very strong horse racing community. You hear Jimmy talk to guys that want to do that, and Delmar, like, and I get that. Like, I don't know anything about horse racing, but I certainly know there are people that are invested in it. But like, you do need the Triple Crown to be on the table. Now, I don't think Golden Tempo is going to win the Triple Crown. He was a very, very surprise winner at the Derby.
All the way to the back.
Yeah, so like, probably not going to cost you any time, but like, there's nothing better for horse racing than when the Derby winner wins the Preakness and you can go to the Belmont. I very distinctly remember 2015 American Pharoah. I watched the Belmont at walk-ons before I walked over to the Super Regional LSU and ULL. And like American Pharoah came down the stretch and won the Triple Crown. We all went nuts. Nobody knew what the hell we were watching. And everybody started chanting LSU, LSU for the horse race. But like, they would have even had the race on if the Derby winner hadn't won the Preakness. So they need to make it accessible. It can't be that hard on the horse racing calendar. I don't know how much rest thoroughbreds need after they run
they're
mile
bred for this, literally.
I mean, 2 weeks is obviously not enough with the travel. So do we need 3? Do we need 4? Like, what makes it work? And then make that happen. We got the summer. We can do this. I'm confident we can do it. It's not like you're moving 30 teams here.
Yeah.
We got 3 races we need to prioritize. I know what's going on in Del Mar. I know they've got the Louisiana Derby.
Jimmy love it.
I got it. But like, let's prioritize the 3 and we can move them. The PGA Tour and the USGA and the R&A, Augusta, move the majors. Like, they figured that out in golf.
We can
do it with the Rose Bowl's not going to move, but we can move everybody else.
They ruined everything with that too. I'll never forget
It's
them.
fine. All right.
That's it for Take It or Leave It.
That's it on a Wednesday. Lots of ground we covered today. Talked to LSU Tulane. I gave you my thoughts on LSU's NCAA tournament resume in baseball. That's at 1:15. You can go back and check it out on demand on our show, or you can read it at LouisianaSports.net. I wrote it for free there. What If Wednesday? Koki Riley was with us at the top of hour number 2. Talked about Will Wade's newest player. We also talked a little Saints secondary help. You can find that at Hunt on Saints. I'm out of here. Matt's going to drive you home on After Further View. We're back tomorrow. Same time, same place. The Hunt Palmer Show.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
Lifetime Roofing, LifetimeRoofingLA.com, LifetimeRoofingLA.com. When I say Lifetime Roofing, you probably think, I bet they do roofs. You nailed it. They do roofs. They do roof inspections. They fix roofs. They put new roofs on. They're happy to do that. But that's not all they do at Lifetime Roofing. They also do professional installation of gutters. They also do professional installation of siding. They also do professional installation of windows. So if you're looking for a company to come help you with the exterior of your home in a lot of different capacities, you can make one phone call to Lifetime Roofing, and they can handle that. And they are so thrilled as of January 1st to offer a lifetime workmanship warranty. That's a game changer. A lifetime workmanship warranty. Go with a local company based here in Baton Rouge, by Baton Rouge people, by South Louisiana people that can help you throughout the southern portion of our state. It's Lifetime Roofing. Find them online at LifetimeRoofingLA.com. That's LifetimeRoofingLA.com.